Since the Oscars began in 1929, it's been a big event with lots of excitement. There's the fancy red carpet, famous actors, and lots of surprises. People remember the big wins, the shocking losses, and the speeches where winners say thank you. Welcome to Part 4. If you've missed Parts 1 through 3, you can watch them at the links in the description or here on the pop-ups. Hope you enjoy watching. Year 1993. Unforgiven. Clint Eastwood's movie Unforgiven shows a time when the old Wild West was starting to change. Not many professional gunfighters are left, and reporters are interested in their stories. People who used to sleep outside now live in houses they build. William Money, who was once known as a thief and murderer, now makes a living by farming hogs. Even though it's 1880, some folks still remember the violent West from legends, but they're moving into the middle class. The film's style also reflects this change. The first scene shows a house, a tree, and a man at a grave with the sun setting, marking the end of an era. The movie often shows wide shots of the land, showing how big it is. Inside scenes are often backlit by bright sunlight coming through windows, making it hard to see the people inside. This shows the difference between living outside and living in a more civilized way. Year 1994. Schlinder's List. Schindler's List is known as a movie about the Holocaust, but it's more about the people in it than the event itself. It follows two main characters, Oskar Schindler, a clever businessman who tricks the Nazis, and Amon Guth, a cruel Nazi officer. Both men take advantage of the chaos of war. Schindler wasn't successful in business before or after the war, but during it, he used his factories to save over 1,000 Jewish lives. His factories were supposed to fail, but that was part of his plan. Guth, on the other hand, was executed after the war for his brutal actions. Steven Spielberg, the director, wanted to tell their stories as a way to talk about the Holocaust, which is too big and tragic to capture fully in fiction. He didn't give the movie a happy ending, but it shows that standing up against evil can make a difference even in the darkest times. Some people criticize Spielberg for making the Holocaust seem too hopeful or for turning real stories into entertainment. But movies need an audience, and Spielberg knows how to make serious topics interesting to many people. While other films might explore the Holocaust more deeply, Spielberg's ability to reach a wide audience is what makes his movies impactful. Year 1995. Forrest Gump.
Hello, my name's Forrest Gump.
You never know who you might meet at a bus stop. It could be anyone from a simple gardener to a big-shot business person, or even a war veteran or famous athlete. They might seem a bit odd, or maybe they're just a bit different from what you expect. Forrest Gump isn't the smartest person around with an IQ of 75, and his peculiarity make him stand out even more. But his mom always told him to make the best of what he's got, so that's what he does. Despite his challenges, Forrest uses his strength, skills, and friendly nature to make a big impact on the world. When faced with bullies, Forrest listens to his friend Jenny and starts running. Literally and figuratively, he goes to college, travels across America, and even starts a successful shrimping business just because his friend Bubba suggested it. But life isn't all easy for Forrest. He goes through tough times like losing loved ones and facing disappointments. His mom always said, life is like a box of chocolates, meaning you never know what you're going to get. And for Forrest, life is a mix of sweet moments and bitter ones, like biting into a chocolate that surprises you. Year 1996. Braveheart. Braveheart is a big, exciting movie about William Wallace, a Scottish hero who fought against the English around 1300. It's not exactly historically accurate, but it's full of action and emotion. The film focuses on love, patriotism, and betrayal, and shows the harsh, muddy reality of medieval life. Wallace, also known as Braveheart, led Scottish clans in battles against the English before being captured and executed. Although the movie takes liberties with history, it captures the spirit of the times. The most memorable parts of the film are the battle scenes, which are bloody and intense. Director Mel Gibson does an excellent job of staging large-scale warfare, making the battles easy to follow despite their complexity. While Braveheart isn't a strict historical retelling, it's a mythic tale inspired by legends like Prince Valiant and Mad Max. Gibson, who also stars as Wallace, brings flamboyance and humor to the role, making it a thrilling and entertaining movie. Year 1997. The English Patient. The English Patient is an interesting movie based on Michael Ondaatje's novel, blending love, loss, and desire. It narrates the past of a burned man known as the English Patient, cared for by a nurse named Hannah in Italy during World War II. The film unfolds with the mystery of the burned man's identity, gradually revealing his past as a Hungarian count named Laszlo de Almásy. He falls in love with a British woman named Catherine Clifton, and their romance unfolds amidst the chaos of war. As the story continues, secrets are revealed, including actions by Almásy that may have led to the suffering of others. The performances, particularly by Juliette Binoche, Ralph Fiennes, and Kristen Scott Thomas, are compelling, adding depth to the intricate narrative. While some aspects of the novel may have been condensed, director Anthony Minghella creatively captures the essence of Ondaatje's story. Year 1998. Titanic. Titanic is a fantastic movie directed by James Cameron. It tells the story of Jack and Rose, two people who fall in love on the famous ship's first voyage. As their romance blooms, the Titanic hits an iceberg and starts sinking. Cameron and his team worked really hard to make the movie look realistic. They paid attention to every detail, making sure the sets and special effects were perfect. This made the Titanic feel like a real place. The actors, like Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet, did a great job bringing the characters to life. Their performances make you feel like you're right there with them, experiencing everything they do. You'll root for Jack and Rose to stay together while also feeling the tension of the ship's impending disaster. Year 1999. Shakespeare in Love. In Shakespeare in Love, William Shakespeare battles writer's block until he finds inspiration in Viola de Lesseps. Their love brought out his creativity, transforming his play from Romeo and Ethel, the pirate's daughter, to Romeo and Juliet. However, their romance faces hurdles. Viola is engaged to Lord Wessex, approved by Queen Elizabeth. Set in 1593 London, the film portrays a vibrant theater scene where Shakespeare competes with playwrights like Christopher Marlowe. The closure of theaters due to the plague adds tension. When Shakespeare promises a new play, theater owners compete to produce it. But only men can audition. Viola, disguised as Thomas Kent, impresses Shakespeare and wins the role of Romeo. Later, she reveals her true identity, and they fall in love amidst gender confusion. The film expertly navigates themes of love, identity, and artistic rivalry in a humorous and touching manner, echoing Shakespeare's own plays. Year 2000. American Beauty. This movie is both funny and sad. We laugh at the main character's silly problems, but we also feel sad for him. Lester Burnham feels ignored by his family and unimportant at work. He says he feels like he's already dead. His wife Carolyn cares too much about looking perfect, and their daughter Jane wants breast implants for no good reason. Lester's complaints about his family are somewhat fair. The movie reaches its climax during a night of crazy misunderstandings, leading to a mixed ending for Lester. It's not a typical happy ending, but it's still a kind of victory for him. This movie shows how lonely and pressured people can feel in society. The actors, especially Thora Birch and Kevin Spacey, do a great job of showing this. Spacey's character, Lester, makes some reckless choices, but in the end, he finds a kind of freedom which changes how we see him. Year 2001, Gladiator. Gladiator tells the story of ancient Roman rulers during 180 AD. General Maximus leads Rome to victory against Germanic barbarians, earning the admiration of Emperor Marcus Aurelius. However, Marcus's jealous son Commodus murders Maximus and claims the throne. Maximus survives an attempt on his life but loses his family. Sold into slavery, he becomes a skilled gladiator under Antonius Proximo. When Commodus reinstates gladiator games, Maximus rises to fame, known as the Spaniard. Despite Commodus's attempts to kill him, Maximus wins the crowd's favor. Maximus plans to overthrow Commodus with the help of loyal allies, but is betrayed. In a final duel, Maximus kills Commodus and instructs his followers to restore Rome's Senate, year 2002. A beautiful mind. This movie portrays John Forbes Nash Jr.'s brilliance in mathematics and his battle with delusions. Russell Crowe, playing Nash, depicts his descent into madness and eventual return to academic life convincingly. Director Ron Howard captures Nash's complexity and the support he receives from his wife, Alicia, portrayed by Jennifer Connelly. Nash's schizophrenia is depicted visually with delusions of being pursued by government agents. Despite agonizing treatments, Nash eventually finds stability with medication and support. The movie portrays Nash's journey from isolation to recognition, including winning the Nobel Prize. It highlights the challenges of mental illness without sensationalizing it. Nash's recovery is bittersweet, raising questions about the relationship between genius and madness. Year 2003, Chicago. The movie Chicago is full of exciting songs and dances, with just enough talking to keep the story moving. Renee Zellweger plays Roxy Hart, who persuades her husband to pay for her defense after killing her lover. Catherine Zeta-Jones is Velma Kelly, who killed her husband and sister. Richard Gere plays Billy Flynn, the expensive lawyer. The original stage production inspired by the city of Chicago, where Bob Fosse, the director, grew up. The movie brings the musical to life with fast-paced scenes and impressive choreography. Some people questioned casting non-singers and non-dancers, but Zellweger and Gere did well in their roles. Year 2004, The Lord of the Ring, Return of the King. The Lord of the Rings trilogy wraps up with Return of the King, bringing everything together. It's the best of the three movies and confirms the trilogy as a big, ambitious project in a time when movies play it safe. While it doesn't quite reach greatness, it's still impressive. The story might seem a bit silly for a masterpiece, but the movie's visuals and action make up for it. The final movie sees Frodo and Sam facing challenges as they try to destroy the ring. They're joined by the creature Gollum, who is both helpful and treacherous. The movie is filled with epic battles and stunning special effects, like the monstrous spider Shelob. But despite the grand spectacle, there's not much depth to the characters or emotions. The series is more about the surface and action than deep feelings. Still, there are a few moments that stand out, like the tragic fate of Faramir and Gollum's final actions. Year 2005, $1 Million Baby. Why is Clint Eastwood's $1 Million Baby such an incredible movie? It's about an old boxing coach and a determined girl from the countryside who dreams of being a boxer. Narrated by a former boxer who's the coach's best friend, it's not just about boxing, it's about life itself. Eastwood stars as Frankie, the coach, who runs a rundown gym in Los Angeles, and enjoys poetry. Hilary Swank plays Maggie, a waitress from Missouri who sees boxing as her way out of a dead-end life. Morgan Freeman portrays Scrap, Frankie's old friend who used to box. Together, they bring depth and truth to their characters, unlike anything seen in other movies. Eastwood doesn't sugarcoat anything. He shows these people as they are, facing their struggles with courage and determination. Year 2006, Crash. Crash is a movie about different kinds of people in a city like white, black, Latino, Korean, Iranian, police, and criminals. They all deal with racism in some way. They can be both victims and guilty of racism. Sometimes they act better, but it's not always simple. They might act badly without thinking, or even when they're trying to be good. It's hard to know what someone else is thinking. The movie is interesting because we quickly understand who the characters are and what their lives are like, but we can't predict how they'll act because so much depends on chance. Most movies follow familiar patterns, but Crash feels unpredictable. Because we care about the characters, the movie draws us in and makes us care about what happens. One common thing in the movie is that people's assumptions stop them from seeing who others really are. For example, an Iranian man is mistaken for an Arab, a Mexican-American locksmith is thought to be a criminal, and a black cop doesn't know where his Latina partner is from. The movie shows how these assumptions affect people's lives. Year 2007. The Departed. In Martin Scorsese's films, characters often struggle to match their inner selves with their public personas. The Departed is no exception, focusing on two men leading double lives. Matt Damon plays Colin Sullivan, groomed by mob boss Frank Costello to infiltrate the police force. Leonardo DiCaprio is Billy Costigan, a cop sent to infiltrate Costello's gang. As they succeed in their deceptions, they become entangled in conflicting loyalties and escalating danger. Both Colin and Billy, products of Irish-American Catholic upbringing, grapple with the weight of their deceitful actions. Their performances, portrayed with inner turmoil by DiCaprio and Damon, reveal the constant struggle beneath their faces. Year 2008. No Country for Old Men. The movie starts with Tommy Lee Jones narrating about a teenager he once sentenced to death for killing his girlfriend. The boy didn't feel any passion for the crime. He said he had always wanted to kill someone and knew he was going to hell. This sets the tone for the film, which centers around a chillingly evil man named Anton Chigurh, who uses a cattle stungun to kill people. Sheriff Ed Tom Bell and Llewellyn Moss are also key characters. Moss finds $2 million at a drug deal gone wrong and tries to keep it, but Chigurh is determined to take it back. The movie portrays themes of morality and fate, with intense scenes that keep you glued to the screen. The stunning cinematography, editing, and music add to the film's haunting atmosphere. Year 2009. Slumdog Millionaire. The story in this movie revolves around Jamal Malik, an 18-year-old orphan from Mumbai slums, who was on the brink of a life-changing moment. With the entire nation tuned in, he is just one question away from winning a massive 20 million rupees on India's Who Wants to Be a Millionaire. However, when the show takes a break, Jamal is arrested by the police on suspicion of cheating. How could a boy from the streets know so much? Determined to prove his innocence, Jamal recounts his life story in the slum where he and his brother grew up, their adventures together, encounters with local gangs, and his love for Latika, a girl he lost. Each part of Jamal's story reveals how he learned the answers to the game show's difficult questions. Yet one question remains: why is this young man, seemingly uninterested in wealth, on the show? As the new day begins and Jamal returns to answer the final question, the inspector and 60 million viewers are about to discover the truth. Year 2010. The Hurt Locker. Many movies start with beauty beginning, but The Hurt Locker begins with a bold statement. War is a drug. This might not be true for everyone, especially most soldiers who just want to finish their duty and go home. But for the main character, Staff Sergeant William James, facing danger is like a thrill. He's in Iraq defusing bombs, not as a typical action hero, but like a skilled specialist, similar to a surgeon focusing on one body part every day. Despite the risks, James understands bombs deeply and even seems to have a sense of the bombers' minds. Jeremy Renner's portrayal of James could earn him an Oscar nomination. His performance doesn't rely on big speeches, but rather on showing who James is and what drives him. There you have it. Which movie would you like to watch? Let us know in the comment section. Thank you for watching.